when I first started using virtual assistants, I'll tell you what, it was literally kind of foreign to me, literally, because I was thinking, like, what kind of work can I give someone who is not local, who's not nearby, and who I can't really physically see? And this was kind of a foreign idea to me because my background in actually, getting into business, not only just real estate investing, but in business, was direct sales. My first business, I was 17 years old, and I was selling chocolate and vanilla diet shakes door to door. That was the first network marketing company I was ever in, and literally went door to door and went literally nowhere with that business after about 6 months. My hairdresser, she was kind enough to buy, I think 6 bottles of it, and then that business stopped. So I did not know who my target customer was, because when you go to someone's door knocking and asking them to buy chocolate or vanilla diet shakes, you're immediately implying that you're fat. So know your customer. All right, so coming from that background of direct sales and building a team, especially in network marketing, I've built quite a few teams over the years. And I'm not saying I'm in network marketing anymore. I'm just letting you know when I, was in network marketing. One of the things that I always was familiar with was building a team, and that was teams like closest to me, and showing people how to do things, and walking people step by step through a plan, and how to present and make an offer and all that stuff, how to take an order. That all came from direct face-to-face training. So when it came to doing this business virtually and building a team virtually, it was almost like, well, how does this happen? Like, how am I going to do this? One of the first things that was out years ago was a company called Odesk, and a competitor to them was called Elance. Odesk ended up buying out Elance, and then Odesk changed its name to Upwork. If you're familiar with Upwork.com, they're probably one of the biggest freelancer platforms out there, and there's quite a few. But today I want to show you a simple way to get started if you've never done this before, right? So if you've never hired anybody online, or maybe you've hired people for certain particular things, but not specifically this, then for real estate, then I'm going to show you how. Because, really one of the cool things with these platforms is you can hire people for all kinds of stuff, like literally even, there's random stuff on here that you can find, but I'm going to get more specifically focused. So let's dive right in to using Fiverr as a platform. Let me move myself on this side. I feel better when I'm over here. All right, so let's see if I can move this around. There we go. All right, so let me show you what you can use. And I was already kind of just jumping in here, showing you like words like skip tracing. One of the things I'm first going to do is go to real estate investing and pull a search. I'm going to show you what this looks like in a search here. Okay, so as you can see here, I've pulled a search real estate investing. You can look at the drop down of categories that are there, and we're going to narrow this down because real estate investing is a very broad term, right? And there's like so many things under real estate investing. It could be SEO for your website, articles that need to be done. If you have a website and you need help with your WordPress website, legal writing, presentation design, right? Logo design, if you need a logo. There's so many different things under that category of real estate investing. So it's not very detailed. You understand? It's not very detailed. So when you type in something that broad of a search, you're going to get all kinds of things like real estate leads on a website, how to design a real estate investing infographic for Instagram, blah, blah, blah. And it keeps going on. I will send autofill real estate wholesale investing contracts. There's a whole bunch of stuff under the category of real estate investing. I don't recommend that you use this strategy of search. I would recommend be a little bit more specific. So this is what I was searching earlier. Whoops, how about skip, not scup? Skip tracing, and you can type in skip tracing real estate. Gets a little bit more granular, more focused, and you'll see the amount of stuff that comes up. Now, again, going back to different options, diving deeper into the search criteria is where you want to get a little granular. This will help pull up search results instead of just kind of skimming through all the results. This will help if you get a little bit more granular with your skip tracing. Okay. Also, you can look at seller details. How good are these people, right? Do they speak English? That tends to be, a primary factor for a lot of people, especially in the US. So English, you want to know what kind of seller are they? Are they a new seller? Are they a level 2? Are they number 1? Or are they top rated, right? And right now there's no top rated one. So let's just narrow it down. Let's go to level 1, speaks English. And you can find people pretty much anywhere, but there's also people who live in the United States. We can apply that. And of course, there's plenty more. But again, the rates vary based on location because of economics. So here we have the budget tab. The budget tab is going to show you, how much do you want to spend on a project like this? Do you actually want to spend a minimum of $5? Or do you want to spend, what can $100 get you, right? Never know. We'll see what happens. Let's put that into the search. Let's look at delivery time. What do we need for a delivery time? Do we need it really fast? Do we need it, they can get back to me and get this project complete within 7 days? Yeah, let's try that. Let's see what happens. Okay. So we've applied all those filters. And the filters you can see are right here, actually. These are the filters. And if you ever needed to remove those filters, you just hit the X. Okay. Just hit the X. Now, another thing, local sellers, see how that's highlighted? That's sellers from your country. So I don't know if that's pulling up Portugal or local. It was actually pulling up the United States because it just disappeared. So let me go pull that up again. And I think we're only going to get 3. Is that what's happening? Local sellers, we only have 3. And then you can actually toggle online or offline. So if you wanted to talk to someone and chat with them right now, you would toggle the online sellers. There's no one online right now, and that's kind of like, we don't really need that feature. This is, I guess, if you're in speedy, high demand and you need something quickly, you want to chat with them right now, you could use that feature. So here's the thing. I did skip tracing real estate in the United States, and I only have these 3 gigs. Each of these type of windows, these little panels, are called gigs. Now, I want to show you something that's really interesting because we've narrowed it down to this amount of money, this many days in the United States. But I want you to notice something. Notice how it's the same seller. See, this is the picture of the seller. This is the username of the seller, okay? And these are the different gigs they have. So I'm going to jump into this seller. I'm going to open up this seller, and I'm going to show you a little bit about who they are, okay? So real estate investor helping other real estate investors. So ET Buy Home 1 is his profile. And he's from the United States. He's been a member since August. His average response time is 1 hour. Recent delivery was 2 months ago. A little bit of profile information gives you that information about them. You can check them out online if they have it. And you can see their skills and education. Now, by the way, this is fairly new, okay? This panel on the left, if you've used Fiverr before, and maybe you haven't used it recently, this is actually new because this wasn't really here before. You didn't get this kind of detailed information as they're doing now, such as even education. And the reason why they're doing that now more than ever is because they're modeling Upwork.com, which has a little bit more detail in the profiles. If those little details matter to you, sometimes those details, like when I'm looking for someone, I'm not really caring so much about where they went to school, okay? To me, it's, can you get the job done? What's interesting is sometimes people went to school for one thing, but they're really great at another thing, or they're not practicing what their degree is anymore, right? So the reality is what I care about and what I'm going to show you today has to do specifically with what they're great at. So that's the things I want to look for. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is, I know we've typed in skip tracing. We went down the skip tracing road, right? So I'm going to see if I can find, I'm just going to look at one of these. I will provide cash buyer leads. Okay, let's look at this gig specifically from this this seller, okay? I want to show you something a little bit about the profile, right? We have the overview, about the seller, compare the packages and reviews. So if we go to about them, it's going to give that same information that we just saw just a little bit ago on the side panel. Then it's going to show the packages that they offer and the pricing and what they'll give you, right? And then you'll see organize and the different checks to each package, how many revisions you will need. If you need it faster, they charge an extra fee. right? If you need to up the delivery time and make it happen even quicker. So, and then you'll see what comes in the package. See that? I'll give you 100 real estate cash buyer leads. I'll give you 1,000, right? So that's their offer to you. And then sometimes what you want to do is read their description, because sometimes they will, this guy doesn't have any, but sometimes they'll say, hey, please contact me first. If you ever need to contact someone, you just hit the contact button, okay? Now, those are other gigs from other people in the recommended for you. One thing I always like to do is I like to look at the reviews, okay? I think that's kind of that if you never practice that, have it as a practice. It's really good. So make sure you always go down to reviews and see what's going on. Now, this guy has a pretty much high review. I think anything over 4.5 is really decent. So he has, 60 5-star reviews. Now, one of the things I always like to look for, especially if I'm seeing low reviews, I always like to check the low reviews first. Some people just go straight for the high reviews. I like to see what happened. I like to see what went wrong, and what's been happening, and how old is it? Is it a long old one? Whatever it may be. So what I'm seeing here, I'm only seeing 3 negative reviews out of 60. That's not bad. It seems like this is a very broad, comment. I'm not too sure what that is. And then information not accurate. Doesn't seem very helpful. I can even put not helpful. Terrible list. None of the leads panned out. Bad numbers throughout. Do not use. 1 year ago. So none of the leads panned out that's speculative. That's a really hard, judgment to say, I don't know that person, this seller, this buyer, how well he works the list. So that's kind of interesting. And then, so let's go back to the positive ones. Okay. And if there was more in the middle, we could do that also. And, if you wanted to see people in the 4 stars, we could check out some of those, good listing, great listing. All right, let's go to some of the good reviews and review that. But I always like to look at the bad things first, because sometimes someone may be complaining about their style, the way they, maybe communication, it may be speed, right? All these kinds of things I like to find what's going on. So this is where we're going to see the good stuff, right? We got a lot of 5 stars here. You can always review that and see what they've done. Okay, I need to build a database. Okay, that's another person there. Very satisfied, highly recommended, great communication. So here's an example. Great communication. He was very opening to preparing my order in the way I needed it. Okay. And now this is really important. Oh, wait, one more thing. Results may not be typical for everyone, but my order was also processed in the same day. Okay. That's really good. So this guy added some speed to it. However, look, I want you to focus on something here. He was very open in preparing my order the way I needed it to be, right? So that's very custom. And that's something that's very important in this type of gig. And what do I mean by that? Because this person is building you a cash buyers list, right? Cash buyer leads, okay? That's very important. That's a very specific thing. It's even location specific. So here is where you're going to definitely want to dive into the information about their gig. It's like a profile about the gig, not so much about the seller, but about the gig, okay? And here we see, welcome to my page. Please read the description carefully. It's your responsibility to make sure you understand that services are being offered. He says his name. He's a real estate expert. I'm an experienced real estate investor who's experienced in skip tracing, lead generations, and real estate research expert. In this gig, I'm going to give you the current real estate cash buyer leads for any state in the United States. I will give you the following information: last cash purchase property address with property details, buyer name with mailing address, buyer contact details, name and current address, LLC or personal buyer, last purchase details, property value. You get the idea, right? So then he says a little bit of other things, and also he mentions, I guess, maybe one of his, businesses here. I'm not too sure what that is. One of the things that's really important is locality and specifics, right? So if you're buying 40 cash buyer leads, as it says here, or 100, you don't want cash buyers all around the country. Now, this is really important. This is like from me to you, okay? Not just, and you order a gig like this and I need cash buyers. And let's say if you're investing in Texas, you don't want to be getting leads or cash buyer lists from Rhode Island, okay? That's not going to make sense, right? You need something very targeted and specific to locality. So before you order a gig like this, what you would want to do is contact the seller of the gig, who's the offering it, and ask them, can you get me cash buyer leads from this state, from this area, this city, this county, right? That's how specific you want to be. Even in the spreadsheet, when he sends it over to you, you want them to map it out in like an Excel format, the location. That's how specific you want to be. Why do you think I am stressing this point? Because I've ordered gigs like this. When this first came out before, a few years ago, and these guys were, popping up on Fiverr and Upwork.com, they were a lot of times bringing you cash buyers. I remember my first order of a gig of cash buyers, I didn't even think of it. I'm like, yeah, this guy can read my mind. And no, they gave me cash buyers all throughout the United States. That doesn't work, right? You need to be very targeted, very specific, and let them know. If they can't provide the service for you, then just move on and find someone who can. It's, you don't have to be glued to anyone, okay? So that's an example of finding a specific gig for real estate. Now, there's many types. And by the way, that was only, remember, the United States, and I left open I closed in a very specific window for that, by the way. And I was very specific with the United States only. And I didn't really leave an open loop for, other people to try. You notice how I only had three gigs to choose from the same seller. So, however, there's a lot of other people that offer these kinds of services. For example, I'm going to show you this guy here. He's a level 1 seller, and I'm going to look for someone else. And let me tell you what I'm looking for when I'm scrolling down, but I'm going to show you something that's really important. As I'm scrolling down, I'm looking for the amount of gigs that they've done, okay? Here's what I mean. See this, how it says 5.0, that's a 5 stars, and these are how many orders they've done. They've done 12 orders, okay? So, and they've done it really well at 5 stars, okay? So that tells me they've done it. This doesn't have a gig yet. This doesn't have a gig yet, okay? They don't have any orders yet for that particular gig. But I want to let you know something. Just because you don't see a particular gig with any orders doesn't mean the seller is bad or just brand new. The seller actually might be really good, okay? And they might have other gigs in a different search criteria. Like here's the example. Notice here that this seller has another gig and he's got 22 orders, but this is a new gig and he has no orders yet. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there are people who have gigs, but they didn't come up in the search criteria when you were searching in this thread. So that's one of the things I recommend you look at more specifically. Is one of the things I do is I first look for how many orders they've done in this specific gig, because I want to make sure that I'm working with someone who has experience. So for example, we got this guy who does skip tracing, and he, showing a little bit about his portfolio, but I definitely want to read what he's done. His name is Ray, and he does skip tracing, data entry, real estate lead generation. Here's what you get in the skip trace. What information I need from you. He tells you what he needs. And these are the following tools that he's using. So he's actually telling you what tools he's using to gather the data. So if you didn't know that, or maybe you're new at this and you've never done skip tracing, you weren't sure like what softwares could be used. You could actually find out and learn a lot just by looking at people's profiles and saying, okay, these are the softwares they use. So you know that some people are going to use LexisNexis. That's actually, LexisNexis, I think, is probably one of the biggest ones in the United States. They're probably one of the biggest data companies there. So another thing too, it's they break down how many leads you're going to do, right? So just wait, hold on. Let me just remind you, this is skip tracing, right? Yeah, skip trace service. Okay, wow. So look at this service. He's doing a skip tracing of 1,000 leads for $40. That's not too bad. You probably can even, if you want to build a relationship with the person, by the way, and you're saying, hey, I really like your service. I've noticed you have all these reviews. You got 20 reviews and no bad reviews, and 4 stars. It seems like you're doing great work. I'd like to hire you, multiple times. Do you have a special rate for, long-term clients? You can even do that. Now, I don't usually do that up front. I do that after I hire someone, and then after I hire them, and if I know I'm going to hire them continually because I like the service so much, then I'll ask them for a customized offer. because any of these sellers can create a very customized offer for you. It doesn't have to be the same gig and the same price every time. I'll give you an example. I have a video editor, and at first, when I hired them, I paid them what they asked. I looked at the reviews, and it was actually on Upwork.com, and I looked at the reviews, and I looked at their work and everything. We discussed everything, and then after a few videos that were being edited, I said, hey man, I want to bring you on more full time. I want us to do more work together. Is there a way, do you have like a special rate for someone that's coming onto the team for a longer term? And he said, well, not really, but I can create a special offer for you since you want to do this. And I said, great. So I was able to get even a cheaper price for hiring for the guy, and able to do more to continue to move forward and build a relationship. So it wasn't, I was now more focused with having that person on the team and dedicated to that person, got a better rate, and he got more of a long-term client. Because sometimes what these sellers do is they raise their price a little higher because it's a lot of one-offs, right? It's a lot of one-off projects, one-off gigs. But if you're bringing on someone like long-term and you're going to keep them, then you want to probably negotiate a rate. I was just talking to one of our clients the other day, and like he said, he's actually worked with people for so long online. He actually ends up working with them on a special pricing and a special relationship. So that's definitely doable also. Okay, so that's just a few things. I mean, we could go deeper if we just do. That's just skip tracing, but we can look at a whole bunch of other opportunities here for real estate investing, whether it's a logo or producing real estate related content. I will send you 100 state real estate investing ideas. I don't know what that means, but that's creative. I'm so curious to what this means. So we got to look it up. Let's see what ideas are you going to bring? I'm just curious. Here's why this money-making gig is a must-have. Includes fast money-making ideas, insanely cheap price, unlock financial freedom, save hours of frustration, free bonuses, 999 ways to make money, plus 5 money-making tutorials, plus 40 passive, and plus... All right, I don't understand how this has to do with real estate. So anyway, guys, just kind of be mindful of those kinds of things, because, gigs like that are just, it's not very specific to your business, is it? Right? It's maybe someone just trying to sell you a boatload of content, and you want things that are very specific, such as maybe auto-filling real estate investing contracts if you're looking for someone to do that. Or this guy's willing to teach investing strategies, right? Or you got someone who's going to manage real estate investing ads, right? So there's different gigs on here, explainer videos. There's a whole bunch. There's many opportunities. So I wanted to show you this because it gives you a chance to start using these kinds of services. Oh, and one last one, actually. Sorry, I wanted to show you this one. It just showed up. Right here, pro services. This is very specific. If you look, this is like the highest level now of service in Fiverr. They created a new level. And this is where now the prices are very different. They're much higher because they're professionals. Like, they're not maybe who's just starting out. They've worked their way on Fiverr for a long period of time, and they've proven themselves. Okay, you have to reach a certain level in Fiverr. You have to have so many great orders, so many great reviews. You have to be at a certain caliber in order to become a professional. You can see right here, this gig is offered by unrivaled talent, verified by Fiverr for quality and service. So there's like a review process that these sellers go through to offer more professional service. So in this example, I typed in real estate investing professional services, and let's see what we can find. Let's look at this girl right here, because she's a pro seller. I will write real estate and finance content. So she might be a writer and a blog. Maybe if you need content. So she's someone who can, write content for you. Maybe if you have a real estate website, and full time. She's been freelancing since 2013. And she also noticed that I have worked with clients across the globe on a variety of real estate finance content, including but not limited to. So if you ever needed content in these kinds of things, maybe you have a website that you want to put this kind of content on your website. Maybe you want, maybe you're dealing with your buyers, okay, buying and selling a property. So maybe you want content written out like of the buying process of what's going to happen. And you want to send that maybe in an email or put that on your website. And you want someone to write that out for you, like the buying process, the selling process, the do's and don'ts, the things to look out for, right? Maybe you want to educate your buyer or seller on your processes. You can do that. You can have someone like her. I don't know her name. Sorry, I forgot her name here. Strong Estate, right? You can have her do that. And as you can see, she has over 1,000 reviews at a 4.9 rating. And she does a whole bunch of other things. But if you just look at what she offers here, 500 words, 4-day delivery, and $100, right? So very different pricing, but you're getting a much more qualified person to do this. And as you can see, her prices are here, standard premium, and that will tell you how long it takes her to do it and the pricing for that. So yeah, this is, by the way, 500 words is like a basic article. A typical article is usually between 400 and 600 words. So that's pretty, I would say $100 per article. And then if you're looking for something a little bigger, maybe a guide or something a little bit more specific, a 2 or 3 pager with images and stuff like that, that's going to be a little bit more money. But she seems to be a great writer. You can also, again, check out her reviews. Oh, does she even put a video in here? I haven't seen this yet. This looks like a new feature. Oh, yeah, it's like an advertisement working with a pro. Okay, I haven't seen that before. Let's go check her her stars and what happened. Don't waste your money. She is not someone who knows and understands real estate. We should have known we were in trouble when she had to ask for the metric system. When she asked, what is the metric system? Okay, so that's obviously, you can see this is, she's in the United States, this seller. And she's not familiar. Maybe she's not traveled, but she doesn't know the metric system. She replies back here. Wow, yes, I did clarify metric, but I certainly didn't ask for clarification, right? So you can see how they will give their comment and then the feedback. That's what I love about this kind of stuff, because you can see, the sellers and the buyers, negotiating or discussing this openly. And it helps to give you an understanding of what this seller can bring to the table for you, right? So that's pro level service, which is a fairly new offering that Fiverr has now created within Fiverr, this Fiverr Pro. And it gives you now, it's looking for better, higher grade, higher qualified talent. Because sometimes when you're hiring low end talent, like $5, when Fiverr first started, all the gigs were $5. And slowly they evolved and started, allowing sellers to offer better services, better quality, and all this kind of stuff. So just remember, it's not that all the time if you hire cheap, you're going to get cheap things. In Fiverr, people are building their profile, so sometimes they start off cheap just to build a good profile. So someone will take a discount on their service just to start building a customer base. But as they grow and as their skill set grows and their quality and their orders and their star rating grows, then they can now charge more for their pricing. They can command a stronger price because they provided great value and service. So keep that in mind. It's not like you should always have to go pro, and it doesn't mean you always have to go for the cheapest. But look and search for people that are going to match what you're looking for very specifically. Find people who do things very specifically, not broadly, or can do multiple things. Get very specific and hire people for that specific thing. If this training was helpful, let's try that again. If this training has been helpful to you, let me know in the comments below or give this video a like so that I know. And if you have any other questions that you saw, throw it in the comments and I'll get them answered for you. All right? Until next time, I'll see you real soon. Go out there and make something happen today. See ya.